Hi, witchy people. My allergies are playing up a storm today, so this should be quite fun. Trying to get through this without too much sneezing, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so this is my second run through of the YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018, and excuse me, I am only up to the letter C on this one, and as I'm not feeling at my best, so I've even resorted to taking notes. So if I'm looking down and reading, it's because I'm reading my notes, which I probably will do because the brain is not there today. Anyway, C, my C word for the YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018 round 2 is cats. And I think I said before, this YouTube Pagan Challenge has, for me anyway, become a YouTube witch challenge, ABC, because it's the only way I can view paganism is as a witch. So it's the only way I can sort of like bring a bit of life to what I'm talking about, I hope. Anyway, cats. Why are cats associated with witches? Black cats especially. And of course, there are probably 1,001 reasons, all sort of like filtered down through the ages. But we should remember that cats were revered once as gods. And the ancient Egyptians especially, I mean, black cats were sacred to the ancient Egyptians. So how did they get from being this, god form to being, burned with witches in the Middle Ages? And sort of like from the Middle Ages to the 16th century. They quite often, if a witch was burned at the stake or hanged or ducked or whatever, her familiar was killed as well. Her black cat was killed as well. So we have to think, well, why did witches have black cats? Why they were black, I don't know. I think it's a lot of it is to do with, especially during the Middle Ages, the 14th century or so, obviously witches were said to have magical powers, but they also brewed a lot of lotions and potions to heal the sick. They were the village wise women. They were midwives and such like. And the church at the time really did not like that in times of trouble and when people had problems, they didn't turn to the church. They turned to the local wise woman. They wanted her herbs and her potions. And so the church basically spread a lot of propaganda saying that all these magical powers and these healing properties that these wise women had were actually from the devil. They were a gift from Satan, not from God. And that's really where it all started to go wrong for poor little black cats and witches. And of course, what we have to remember is most people that were accused of witchcraft weren't witches. They were just simple women or men, not just women. What else can we say about witches then? This is where I'm going to look at my notes. So that was the Middle Ages. Where else can we go to? Oh, of course, the 16th century. 16th century Europe. Why was it common for women, these women, these witches, if you like, to have black cats? First of all, I think that a lot of these so-called witches, I'm going to call them witches, a lot of these witches had cats because they were very close to nature, and they wanted a natural way to kill off their vermin. They had all these rats coming in and mice eating up their wood piles and everything, and the easiest way to get rid of them was cats. So they had cats. Cats also had a very heightened sense. They had heightened senses, so they knew when danger was coming. I mean, even my cats, I know when a windstorm's coming up because my cats up their tails and run in the house about 2 hours before the gale starts. So they had all this, this connection with their cats. And and the reason I think black cats became associated with evil was because obviously, once again, the church, and in those times, the colour black was associated with darkness and evil, keeping things hidden. Yay, I'm back again. Massive sneezing fit. I've got all watery eyes and everything now. Okay. I can't remember where I was. So let's carry on with the Black Death. I think I was going on about wise women actually, and why they have black cats. If we go back to the time of the Black Death, though, because of the associations with black cats and evil, because of the propaganda that the church spread about, maligning these poor women and therefore their cats, black cats were annihilated by the hundreds, which was a shame, because if we had back then more black cats, then they would have killed off the rats, which spread the bubonic plague, and therefore probably more people would have survived. And we also got members of Charles I actually did have a black cat. He considered them very, very lucky, and he was so worried about his cat being killed that he put a 24-hour guard on his cat. You know, he loved this cat so much, and he thought it was his luck. When the cat died, he was said to declare that his luck had also died. His good luck had died. And legend says it that very shortly afterwards he was arrested, jailed. He was arrested on high treason, jailed, and then executed, which led to the suspension, temporary suspension, shall we say, the temporary abolition of the monarchy. So there you have that. And obviously cats are, even now, you know, that they are considered a bad omen for some people and a good omen for others. In Japan, it's supposed to be very, very lucky for single women to have black cats, because black cats attract handsome men. So there was as one. And on pirate ships, there's a whole convoluted thing about black, you know, whether black cats are good luck or bad luck. If one's walking towards you, I think it's good luck. If one's walking away from you, it's bad luck. And if a black cat comes on a boat and then leaves, it means the boat's going to sink. There is an awful lot of folklore considered with black cats. If a black cat walks across your path, it's good luck. If it runs across your path, it's bad luck. In the south of England, it's actually considered, funnily enough, more of a good luck thing. Now, the Pilgrim Fathers, here's another one. The Plymouth Brethren, I think they were. The Pilgrim Fathers, when they went to America and settled the Plymouth colony, were said to burn black cats on Shrove Tuesday, because this, which is really weird. It's funny to me that they would do something, you know, on a holy day, Shrove Tuesday, that they would do something quite so superstitious as to burn a cat, because this would ensure that their homes wouldn't catch fire for the rest of the year. And I always think it's quite strange that these so-called God-fearing people would do something quite so superstitious. So, you know, I do think things like that are quite strange. I will get through this without sneezing again. Okay, I wanted to go on to, oh gosh, watery eyes. No, I don't want to go on to watery eyes. I want to go on to the Celts. Now, the Celts believed that if someone, not necessarily someone was evil, but if someone had done some really bad deeds and done bad things, when they died, their punishment, if you like, was to come back in a feline form, to come back as a cat. And I'm pretty sure that's where this association with witches, because obviously they had this label of being evil. This is where the idea that they could change into cats at night, because obviously cats are nocturnal creatures, so they could turn into cats at night and sneak into people's homes and cause them harm or curse them or hex them. And that's where that association comes from also. You've got to bear in mind that most of these poor women admitted to being able to do this thing, sort of change from a human form into a cat form, simply because they were tortured horrendously to the point where that's what they admitted. So that's, you know, where I think that comes from. I think the only other bit of folklore I can remember off the top of my head, and I hope I'm getting this right, there was folklore that said that if a witch became human again, because witches were their souls were blackened, they weren't human anymore, and if their souls once became pure and they became human again, that their familiar, their cat, would leave their house and never come back. And that's once again an association with witchcraft, witches, and cats, because if you weren't a witch, your cat would leave. So there we go. I hope it hasn't been too awful, like with all the breaks going on because of the sneezing fits, which I've got another one coming. So I hope you enjoyed that. A little quick bit on cats and witchcraft, and that's for my YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018 ABC Challenge. I'm going now before I sneeze again. Thanks for watching, witchy people. Bye bye for now.